Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Starting the ride with a big ass hill climb. Hey everyone, welcome to Hardcore Enduro, where it's all about getting out, riding the hard stuff. I'm George, the guy behind the bars and the voice behind the mic. And we got a good one, folks. It's gonna be a hardcore day. We're out in Jawbone once again. I got Grinding Stone coming up at the end of the month, and I'm just trying to get some really hard terrain. Number one, to help my conditioning and up the skill level and confidence level of my riding. I got my buddy Kyle out today. He's got his channel, All Things Brop, so you can check him out. He does a lot of riding out in the Bullhead area, and he's from Colorado, so he has some footage of that as well. He's a really good rider, and I've been telling him he needs to come out to Jawbone, get some of this extreme stuff, and he's finally able to make it out. So I'm not going to hold back, and we're going to hit some of the hardest trails out here. So here we go. There goes Kyle. I haven't done this trail before, so I don't know how difficult it's going to be. I know it's going to be hard. I'd rate it at a solid black to double black diamond most of the time. So it gets pretty nuts. This climb here, it's got a little rock bluff right at the top, so you got to carry some speed in so that you can have your momentum carry you up this rock coming up. I kind of don't have enough. I need to come in with a little bit more speed here, but I'm still able to get it to this point, and then from here I could tractor it up. Tired today, I'm running the M5B Evo from IRC. It's a soft, muddy tire, but Jawbone, some of these climbs are so sandy and so big and massive. A lot of people run a paddle out here for these climbs, so that this tire, this IRC, just has these giant knobs. It's as close to a paddle tire you can get in a knob form, and I did lower the PSI. I'm running at 5 PSI. I run a tubeless, so I was able to take the pressure down to 5. There's a lot of rocks, especially when we get up to the summit. There's just, it's all rocks, and I needed, as much tire footprint as I could get. But I felt pretty good. It's a good tire choice. It's not a gummy, so it does get beat up, but not, if you run a gummy through here, the gummy tire is not going to last very long. So if you don't want to just be blowing money on tires, pick a little bit harder tread tire when you come to Jawbone with the big knobs. So M5B Evo, it did great out here. My front tire is the fatty golden tire, which I don't know if I'm not. I feel like I need a skinnier tire. The fatty tire, I think, does good for the open desert stuff, but this technical riding where there's little grooves and little ruts, I feel like a little thinner, maybe a taller knob tire would be a lot better. Yeah, so I'm getting gassed already. You can't tell, it is just up, steady climb. And Jawbone, you're either going up or you're going down. There's not a lot of flat terrain here, so it really wears you out. And without conditioning, people talk about technique versus conditioning and what's better. The top guys have both, so don't think the top guys don't have the conditioning without the technique. They have both at top levels, and that's why they can ride and hit obstacles and not stop, whereas out of shape guys, doesn't matter what level of technique you have, when you're gassed, and a lot of that technique goes out the window. But technique does save a lot of energy in certain areas, so don't ever underestimate the value of practicing this small little simple balancing, little zips and double blips and all that kind of slow technical stuff that you need. Hill climbs, of course, balance always plays a role in everything, but climbing up a hill that's just non-stop, there's no mercy. There's where that conditioning really comes into play. My forearms are just burning right now. It's very hard to hold on to the handlebars. But that's how it goes, Everyone goes through it. I was watching a video from It was Rich Larson and another pro rider that he rides Enduro Cross, and he was saying our pump doesn't exist. And I'm like, yeah, but for the out of shape guys, it certainly does exist, because it's just lactic acid building up in your system. You know, your muscles aren't breathing right, so without the conditioning, yeah, that definitely exists. If you're doing it, if you went running, or if you swam or biked or anything, you know, that if you're not in shape, that lactic acid, your body just isn't efficient yet at getting rid of that and getting new blood to the muscles. So, you know, technique, yeah, it'll save you a lot of grief from all the huffing and puffing. But it comes hand in hand. You got to have both, in my opinion, technique and conditioning. Which is, I don't seem to have both right now. I'm missing both of them. Now he's saying, Kyle was really impressed by the way I can tractor up the bike. I've gotten pretty good with my clutch control, about being able to feather find where I can keep that back tire just spinning at a low enough RPM where I'm not just doing a lot of wheel spin, digging a hole for myself, you know, looping out, lifting up the front tire. I mean, I still do that quite often, but I'm getting a lot better at it. One thing I've done, I just replaced my clutch pack, and I took out 2 of the clutch springs in the basket, and that has made my clutch lever, the pull, dramatically less. I really like how it feels now. It feels nice. And I did upgrade. This is a hydraulic clutch from Magura. Yamaha comes with a cable clutch, which switching over to the hydraulic wasn't a big difference. Like, everyone's like, gotta go hydraulic, well, the cable clutch, when the cable's lubed, it's almost identical to the hydraulic clutch, but that, you know, it's just more consistent, where you don't have to keep lubing the cable up to keep it smooth. Instead of, you know, the fluid just stays fluid the whole time. That's why hydraulic clutch, in my opinion, is better, just because it never creates more friction as it gets worn. But removing the 2 springs from the basket dramatically made the clutch pull much less. And then I don't know the longevity of my clutch pack going to be now, but I haven't noticed any difference in the performance of the bike. It still is biting like it normally does. It feels great, so I'm happy with it. Yeesh, this even looks bad on camera. Usually the GoPro makes everything look tame, but this looks bad on camera. It's steep, folks. There's just a lot of steep terrain out here. Ooh, almost tucked the tire over right there. Didn't want to slide down to the right. We're going to come up here. There's a little creek that I'm going to jump into, and we did that quite a few times. On the back side of Chuck Wallet, we go up this creek. That was a lot of fun. And it just amazing, the different style of terrain you can get out here at Jawbone. The tire, you know, it was pretty fresh. So for being a harder tread tire, it was grabbing really good, and I know I got it down to 5 psi, so it really helped out going over the rocks. Kyle, we put a new tires on his bike too, and he's got a little, I think it's a 110/90. So it's a small tire, but it still did really good. He was impressed. Of course, he's got the 300. It's, you know, 25 pounds lighter, and then he probably weighs 60 pounds lighter than I do right now. So my bike is having to haul a lot more weight than his bike. So it puts a lot more foot pressure in my tires than his. This little climb here is a soft hill climb, and it wasn't a steep one. I mean, it's not flat for sure. I mean, it's still a climb. There's a lot of ruts on it, and you know, every once in a while you just pick a bad line, or you're like, what was I thinking? So I get up here and I decide I'm gonna go left here, and I go left right here, and there's a big rut, so that I try to avoid the rut, and then I get off into this no man's land, and it's just so soft that the back tire's digging in. So I didn't make it up. I'm gonna have to make another run at it. wouldn't you know, in the second run, I end up picking the same line as I did in the first run, the same mistake. So nothing improved. So I get all into the soft, squirrely stuff, and I'm just going all over the place.
That's a bitch.
So go back down again. And this time I'm like, alright, I'm just doing Kyle's line. He went up it super easy. Like, it's not that steep. I don't know why I'm struggling here. And you can see when I pick the actual good line, then yeah, I get traction up, no problem. But I was getting gassed. Frustration setting in. You get frustration, pushing yourself. I should have took a little bit of a breather right there. And but I don't, I don't want to be holding Kyle up. You don't want to be the slow guy. Never want to be the slow guy in the group. But it's cost me there. There's a little fatigue mistakes, just zigzagging up at the top.
Kept picking a.
You can see I'm stretching out my hands, just my forearms are just rock solid tight right now. No blood flow going through them. It takes a long time to get that blood loose. I don't know what it loosen up. I don't know what it has to do, but it takes a long time for that to get normal, and then you get your grip back. And without your grip there, you kind of don't have any confidence because you feel like you're just going to fly off the handlebars, fly off the back, especially on these really steep climbs. It's got this little rock section here. You got to go left and then a little zag to the right. I kind of almost overshoot that, and I had to pop the front end back over to the left. Real soft. That's where that M5B did so well today. Even that right there, it still grabbed. It still can tractor the bike up really well. Yeah, buddy, that was a nice little steep rocky section there. Up ahead, there's that flat open mine area that we went through before with the boys. So we came from the left 2 weeks ago, and now we're coming at it from a different trail here. Boy, that'd be a jump. You could probably send it on that one and catch a lot of air. I'm not a big jump guy. I have hit some jumps, but I've had some big crashes on jumps, and I'm not young anymore, and I just, I don't need it. I don't need it for the likes. I don't need it for my ego. I like to get from point A to point B. I don't need to do any crazy jumps. All right, so we're gonna deviate from where we went 2 weeks ago. Just back there, we follow that service road around for quite a ways, and then you get it to this little junction where you can go right or left. And last time we went right, and we had to go up that really steep peak, and this time we went left. And we're gonna go up to the base of Chuckwalla, a different route, which this way is awesome. If this is a hardcore single track way to go. So there's a bunch of abandoned mines here. You get on this little mining road, it drops down, and then you got some serious climbs you got to get over here, and there's like no mercy out the rest of the way here, all the way to Chuckwalla. It's going to be balls to the wall, hard enduro. So there's this climb. Got one more little hill to get over, and then you can see that ridgeline rock behind that. And that one, there's a run going up that. I mean, obviously someone's done it. But I'm telling you, it is insanely difficult. The top is the last, 60 feet climb there is just rock almost straight up. It just looks crazy. So Kyle gets up, and here's the camera, of course doesn't show you how steep it is, but Kyle makes it up to the base there, right where there's that really rocky outcrop starts, and I'm going to come up to where he's at. A lot of rocks here, so it's a rough start. Some ruts. This section, if you could hammer down here, but it's so steep. And then you can see the rocks up there. It is rutted out. It's tight through there. Like it would be very tough.
That part's bad. Once you get through here, if you could hit a third gear and then just carry your momentum.
Yeah, third gear. That's what a 450 does, third gear.
Maybe that's like a down only way, you know? I don't even want to walk this.
So I'm going to do a little recon to see if there's a chicken route, an easier route to get around. Because this is going to kill us if we got to push our bikes or help each other get up through here. I can barely walk this. So I'm having to get on all fours. I'm like rock climbing up this thing.
If I had fresh arms, I need to rest a little bit, get my lactic acid out.
Yeah, we're about half an hour in the ride, and my arms are just still pumped up. You know it's bad when you can't even, you're struggling even to crawl up this thing. I'm telling you, there's got to be a down only route. Although you know, look at that. Woo. Yeah, you can see how much climb you got to do through the rocks there. It looks bad. I did walk around, and to my right now, there's another little ridge line going up that has a trail. So hopefully it's easier in this one. So I'm like, we're gonna kill ourselves trying to get up this route. Like, we're either gonna break ourselves, break the bike, or we're gonna have heart attacks. So let's try a different way.
Watch out for rocks. There's one coming. Ooh.
All right, pro tip of the day: if you're gonna take a rest and sit down, don't sit down on the trail of a steep trail. That's where the rocks are falling. Jeez, sliding down. This is so steep. This is crazy.
There's another run going up over here.
So this is 39 degrees.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, angle?
Yeah.
It says that angle right here is 39 degrees. I felt like it was like 60 degrees. It was so steep.
We gotta get the next ridge over.
So we moved over a little ridge over from where we just tried to go up. It's still pretty steep, and it has a right where that rocky bluff is. It's got another bad little rock section you got to go through, but not nearly as long. So if you get your speed up, your momentum, you can sail right through that.
Ramp.
Yeah, I see that.
I hit that, and then just lost my momentum.
Is it doable, or are we wasting our
I
time?
think it's doable.
All right, it's doable, so got to get it. So he went up, didn't make it, came back down. And you know, first run's always like a recon run to just see how it is on these really tough climbs. Really rocky start. This is really bumpy. A lot of rolling rocks through here. I'm in second gear and able to keep it up. I like to do climbs in second gear because you can speed. There's that one little face, and get right here, and I just got tossed left a little bit. But I got up far enough, and it's a little bit of wedge, the rut there that the back tire was able to grab, get some traction, and I'm able to continue getting up from here. Look it up. Yeah, you can hear that RPM drop so low. You know, I do have the stalls, you know, but it's not that bad. Everyone says the 4-stroke flame out. You know, it's I think it's just clutch control. When you're better at controlling your clutch, you're not going to be flaming out. And that just takes practice and practice and practice and practice. There goes Kyle. This is his second attempt. And he gets to that same spot he got before. Just didn't carry enough speed in. He has to go down. He does get it on the third attempt. But naturally,
the hard part. It's really steep right there.
My battery dies, so I don't get his third attempt.
And then you got to have enough speed to get up through here. That's why I fell over, but I was able to get enough traction. I'll move this rock for him.
Yeah, hooking my buddy up. I got one rock out. Look at that. There's 2 rocks out. That's all I needed, just 2 rocks. You know, 3 rocks would be cheating. 2 rocks is acceptable. Alright, so we both made it up. We're going down the back side of that mountain now. Really steep descent. And I forgot to start the bike. And that has a lot to do with just fatigue, not being able to get my thumb over or dropping the clutch. I was going down in first gear. Should have just bumped it up to second gear and did a little bump start, which that happened several times today. And Kyle likes to ride right on your butt. So if you have a mistake or fall or something, it screws him up. I like to ride a little bit further back so that if someone in front of me, you know, is struggling, then it doesn't affect me. But that's just how he rides. This is really cool. You got this little canyon section. There was a run going out to the right there, but I saw the tracks going through the canyon. The canyon looked more fun, so this is fun. We check this out. I'll hit it. Oh, I gotta give it the gas right there. Yeah, if he would have just gassed it right when his front tire hits that, gassed it, he would have popped right on over. And his bike wanted to take a nap right there. So he didn't make it. And I should have hit this right here. What I was thinking he was going to do, and I've been practicing this at home. But I chickened out. You know, doing it on the trail when it matters is different doing it, you know, at home or in a controlled environment.
I was in second gear.
But it's still not bad. So I'm going to pivot around to the left. I'm going to back up the bike, get the back bike, then I'm going to stand on the left peg and kind of do a little pivot turn there. So I give it the gas, put my right foot down, and kind of just pivoted around to the top. That worked out pretty good. Just like that, except I made it and Kyle didn't.
That counts, I know.
I know, that's all that matters. When the bike makes it, that's what counts. It's not the person, it's the bike that's got to make the obstacle. Alright, so we gotta go straight up to this little chute here. Dodge this rock. Don't hit that rock. Hit the rock.
There's a rock here.
There's a big the one big rock in the chute I managed to hit. Don't worry, that's not the last rock I managed to find out here. There's a couple more that have my name on it, and I just dart right into them. I don't know if I'm staring at it. It's like in my head to hit it subconsciously. I don't know. Like straight into the rock. Alright, so we climb up and out of that canyon, and then we'll make another left turn. And where that canyon kind of comes together here, we're going to be coming up this really gnarly terrain right in front of us. It's that weird, I don't know what it is. It's like a mud, looks like coral. That's what it looks like. It looks like compacted coral, but I think it's like compacted mud with granite or something like that. My brake lever, my brake line had a hole in it, so I swapped out my brake line with my nephew's 250 brake line, and my brakes were really good. Tomorrow, the next day riding, there's gotta be careful coming up these hills. Sometimes there's just a cliff on the other side, so you can't be just gunning it, sending it off the top of the hill, because there might be nothing on the other side. But the next day riding, my brake, my front wheel, the caliper just locks up. Like there's pressure building. I don't know what that is from. If someone knows, leave a comment. Like, why would brake pressure be building? Like, it would lock up my front brake. I'd be riding and I'd notice my front end digging in.
That was the one we came from the backside.
Yeah, it peaked right in front of us. We went up that from the backside. That was really gnarly. And then Chuck Wallace just to the left of that. But I don't know what would cause the brake pressure to increase without pulling the lever. Like, I wasn't pulling in the brake, and the brake would lock on its own. And I'd then have to, we'd bleed it down, relieve the pressure. I'd go for a little bit, and then it would pump up again, lock out the brake. So I eventually just bled out. The next day, I bled out my front brake so that I could make it back to camp. Which, when you don't have a front brake, you can't do any of this, because without riding with no front brake, it feels scary. It feels so weird. It is not fun to ride without a front brake. There was a trail that went right there, but this was the right route we were supposed to be on. A lot of just so coming down here. Watch what I do here. Why did I do this? Boom! I even added a little extra RPM there to make sure my bike really got into that rock. There's a piece of my bike left in that rock forever now. Gonna sign my name on it. That should be George's rock right there. The Hardcore Enduro rock.
Don't do that. There's another rock right there. Oh, the tire just washed out a little bit. Shot in there.
You know, I watched it on video, and I don't think that's what happened. I think I just darted right into the rock. That's what it looks like. I mean, I think I was lying. I was lying to Kyle right then. I just dumb bonehead just darted right into that big old slab of rock right in front of me. Riding through here, it's just so awesome. The terrain, the rock formations. This is what trail riding is all about. This is just epic.
I'm still recording, right?
No, it's not on.
God damn it!
He runs a GoPro 7, and it's a little bit smaller than the 10 and 11. Ooh, this is a steep climb, but the 7's a little bit smaller, and it doesn't have a light. He can't see if the GoPro's on or not, and that is an issue. GoPro needs to fix that. Ooh, that was steep. But if even on mine, I can barely tell. There's a little red light, and if I pull up my goggles, I can see that the light's flashing that is recording. Why doesn't GoPro make some kind of light on top, just on top of the unit, the camera, so that you can see if your camera's on or off, or do something? Because most of the time you have no idea if the camera's on. Like if you wear a chesty, you know, you can't look down there. You don't know if your GoPro's on, or if it's on the top of your head. You don't know. I know it does its beeping, but you know, when you're constantly start recording, stop recording, start recording, stop recording, battery dies, battery's on, you know, and you're huffing and puffing, you're tired through the trail because this is a hard enduro trail, like, you forget all that. You need something easy.
Yeah, it's two ways.
In the white or in the brown?
We came down the brown.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago we came down the left side, the dirt side there, and it was really crumbly,
Dirt there.
loose dirt.
we
There's
came down
like
there.
hard rock with the loose dirt on top.
So
And this white rock actually has a lot more traction. Even though it looked worse, this was the easier way, the better way. So I pull off right here, and I was gonna rest a little bit, get another look at it, and hit it again. Kyle doesn't do that. He just goes for the whole enchilada, which worked out good. It's steep, folks, and he made it. Well, he made it to right there, but he got up past the bad part. All right, he's up there. The pressure's on. You got to go. Once your buddy makes it, you got to get up there too. Old Trixie, she did it pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. See that feather in that throttle? I'm able just to keep pressure on, keep that bike going where I need it to go. It's so steep right here though. I'm all the way forward and the front tire just like barely bouncing off the ground. So I get off, I'm gonna move the front over, and I make a mistake right here. Is I aim too low, and I go too low here, and I go to cut, you know, there's a chute going down. I'm like, oh man, I gotta cut back right. Well, then I cut back right, and now it's so steep. I just put myself in a bad situation. I got this kind of steep rock face. Gotta go up. Now Kyle cuts it up high. See how I cut that a lot higher, and he's able to cut off a lot of that angle. You know, make that steep slope not as steep. And he keeps his momentum up that way, and is able to. There's a couple other little steep sections, and he has his momentum going. He's able to send it. You know, keep on riding up. This is where good line choices and technique do save a lot of energy. You know, come back to the conditioning versus technique. This is where the technique would shine now and save you so much energy. This rock was very grippy here. A little bit of a head game just because you got really big drop-offs on your left and your right. So you can't afford to loop the bike out.
Momentum.
Yeah, momentum would have been your friend here. If you had a little momentum, you could, you know, bump the bike over these little edges. Yeah, look to the right. That's just, yeah, it's a drop off there, folks. It is. I'm telling you, this is double black diamond material right here.
This is just fatigue right here.
Oh, I mean, it's just fatigue right here. just fatigue. That's why. Yeah, blame it on the fatigue, George, not the edge of death next to you right there. Alright, I think I'm gonna back down a little bit, get a little bit of a running start here since the rock's so grippy. You know, you can go back. You know, in soft stuff, it's hard to go back because any ground you gain, you know, you're just gonna dig in again. But on rocks, you know, if you can go back, get another stab at it, that's the smarter way to go. Or if you can push, sometimes rocks are super grippy. You can just, you know, push the bike and use it, and the bike grips so well, you actually don't push that hard, and the bike will just climb itself up. There you go. See, I rocked back. I was able to get a little momentum, bump that front tire over, and then tractored it up. Alright, now we gotta cross over. Could go down left, or 2 weeks ago we came up this little chute right here, so I just wanted to hit it going down this time. It's pretty steep, and there's that washed in rut right there, but not too bad. It wasn't hard. Coming up here, you got a left choice and a right choice. I chose right. You're going up this line and it just disappears. So then I have to. I guess I could have just been on the gas and kept going up that way. But I dropped down back into this rut right here, and I get hung up. My front tire catches that little bush root. And then I'm trying to keep the front end from tucking down, sliding over, but I was able to do that. Nice. And now it's a straight up shot right to the top of this hill. There goes Kyle. This is real steep right here. I was like, oh no, do some gas. Little wheelie right there, not bad. Got up to the top. So there's that saddle. Chuckwalla is right in front of us now. Kyle's handlebars are loose. He was having an issue of that all day long. Is not the bar, but the bolt holding on the mount for the bar was loose, and he kept retorquing it, and it kept coming loose. Which I don't know if that's a KTM issue. If you guys have issues with your KTM's, throw a comment out there. Maybe that's a known issue. Maybe that's just him. Maybe he just needs some Loctite down there or something like that, or he wasn't hitting the right. I was just doing it by hand, so not doing the correct torque amount. So now we're on a part of a tribe never been on before. So we're gonna go around the mountain, and then we're gonna go up, summit it from the other side. Which, ooh, that's gonna be its own video because it is a beast. It's a whole nother level above what we've been so far. So we're heading down the west side of Chuckwalla. Straight ahead of us, that peak right on the top, that's Cross Mountain, and we're gonna do that tomorrow. I was hoping to do 2 peaks in one day, but the route we took this morning, or so far, it's been very hard. And then when you get to the actual trail that goes up the peak of Chuckwalla, it's very intense, very, very rocky, very hard enduro. And then a storm came. The storm came, and we were beat, and we're like, all right, we still got to get back, grab a beer, and wait out the rain. It started raining pretty good on us. Downhills, man, my arms are so sore from all these downhills you got to do. Going uphill, your grip, like your forearms get so pumped, holding on to the handlebars. And then as you go downhill, your triceps get so burnt out, and your neck, like the back of my neck is sore, and then my triceps are sore from the long downhills. There were a lot of riders out today, and in the morning a bunch of people kept passing us. Now, I know Jawbone's a big area, especially with all the dips and the canyons, and you could lose people, but we didn't see anyone today. As soon as we left our campsite up the mountain, we didn't see anyone. Now the next day we did run into a group, but today it was like we're the only 2 people out here. It was pretty awesome. We go left here, and this will go over that little hill, drops down, go left, and you can see those runs, those big climbs going up the other side there. So we're gonna do that. Those runs are pretty big and really soft. You got to be on the gas the whole time. They look pretty intimidating because you're up at altitude and it just looks very, very steep. And you know, you can't hold back. You just got to be hammering down. There they are, those climbs right there.
Yeah, there's a way around it.
So the far left, I'm going to start on the far left and then kind of take a middle line there. The one on the right had some rocks on it that didn't look too good. So here we go. So I'm going to kind of take this middle line right here. Kind of got off my balance and still climbing those. You know, that M5B tire, she grabs. Got to get more speed though. Got to be pulling that throttle a little bit more. Being a little bit better at my balance. I'm kind of all over the map here with being on the bike. You can see it's just bouncing around. I know it's pretty steep and it's hard to keep it straight, but when I watch Graham Jarvis hill climb, he's like centered on the bike the whole time, and that bike stays really steady through the whole climb. There, a little loop out by Kyle. We're gonna head down and we're gonna hit this a second time. So you want to stay centered on the climb. You know, the bike straight up and down. That's where it's got the most traction from the tire. So anytime you start leaning left and right on your balance, you know, the tire is actually not getting as much, you know, footprint and grabbing less. So you lose traction there. Kyle made it just past his first attempt. I'm gonna just bushwhacking through here, trying to find a new line, and I'm trying not to lose momentum as I'm climbing here. So I'm like, oh, now the hill started to level out here a little bit, so I was able just to continue up. And then the trail ended. I didn't see anything continuing up. Now maybe I missed it. It looked like that was just a climb and people turned around and went down again, but should have tried it again and went higher. I bet there was some little goat trail that continued up the mountain, but we crossed over and then headed back down this other ridge, dropped down into this little creek, and that was a lot of fun. The creek was really rocky, a lot of stone and boulders, so good change of pace. You're getting all kinds of different terrain here. You got massive hill climbs, real sandy sections, rocky hill climbs. Then you can drop down into these creeks, and there's some water running in them from the recent rains. So it's, you know, just a good variation of riding today. It's awesome. Now we both have pack talks, and for whatever reason my pack talk didn't charge or wasn't connecting or something like that. So we're used to using them. I'm so used to using them now when I ride with my buddies that when I don't have it on, it's a little frustrating. So we kept having to stop, meet each other, and talk and yell at each other over our bikes to tell each other where we're going or what's happening. It's so nice to have that intercom system. The next day when we did cross mountain, we had our intercoms that was working, and it's so noticeable how much more enjoyable the ride is when you can just talk in the fly, you can bullshit to each other or just tell each other what's going on rather than having to stop and yell at each other every time you come, you know, to an intersection or climb or a certain section. So here we go, we're going up this little creek. It gets pretty hardcore through here. Now right here, I get up this left side and then it'll drop down, and there's just a little rock ledge, and it kind of gets in my mind that if I hit my foot peg there on the right rock, I got to go through the creek up to the side. It's not a big climb, but there was a couple rocks right at the bottom, right in the middle. And I thought if I hit my foot peg there, there's a big hole and I'm just going to dump the bike. So I went up cautiously. I moved the rocks out of the way for Kyle, and so he got a nice clean run, made it up pretty easy. Kind of a head game, you know. The rock sections you got to commit to, and you got to trust in your suspension, and be key on your balance. And sometimes you're just, it's like a mental head game. You got to have the confidence to be able to do that. There, you're welcome. For the next group that comes through here, I moved those rocks for you, so you're welcome. See, just like that, those little rock sections, you know, just hit it and keep yourself up on the pegs, let the suspension do its thing, and the bike, you know, makes short work of it. Just a cool section through here. So we're climbing uphill. This is pretty, I mean, we're climbing pretty good through this creek, dropping in and out, riding through it, and it was wearing me out. Didn't do a good climb there. I got a little sideways, and the back end spun a little bit. I was able to get it back. It's pretty steep right there. I should have hit it with a little bit more gas. I didn't hit it with enough blip. Needed more blip at the bottom to get through it. Look how chunky this is. Yeah, buddy. Kyle comes to pass me right here on my left. Ready? He didn't commit to the pass. And so then he laid his bike over there, and then he got a little bit of a struggle to get out of that spot. But I saw he was making the pass. I was like, oh no, I need to put some distance between me and him. His conditioning is so much better than mine right now. I just haven't been able to get into the gym. Haven't been able to get a lot of hours on the bike either, where he has. Now my front end, it feels stiff, and I just replaced the left fork seals, and it just doesn't feel like it did. I know a couple weeks ago my bike flew off this cliff in Avenel, and it might have, I don't know if it tweaked something going off the cliff, bent something maybe. I need to go through maybe the other fork and just see. It just feels stiff to me today. The rocks are kind of banging around a little bit too much. Normally the bike runs pretty smooth. Alright guys, with that I'm going to bring this video to an end. We're climbing up out of this creek here, and we're going to be at the base where the trail starts climbing up the summit itself. And there's 3 summits you got to do. They have a little bypass, or you can go straight to the main one, but you got to hit all 3 to make it count, and we did. So with that, hope you liked the video. Stay tuned for the next one. Until then, get out, ride, and get some. Ew!